All right, and just wanted to cover this one really quick because I know what's going to happen in the news. I know how it's going to be covered, and it's not going to be good. And it's going to be, well, let's just say disingenuous, dishonest, or at least not entirely factual or not covering all the facts that we have so far. So the story is about Samuel Tunick, Tunick, who says in 2025, he was on his way home following a road trip abroad. Tunick lives in Atlanta, and after landing back in the U.S., custom agents demanded access to his phone, which was running an alternative version of Android called Graphene OS. Rather than hand over his data, Tunick used a clever feature that deletes everything, but now he's facing federal charges. The first hearing in this case happened last week, according to The Guardian, during which government attorneys and agents claimed that Tunick was subjected to a, quote, standard secondary interrogation. That's a phrase that just brings terror to me. I don't know. I don't like it. Because they don't say why he was being interrogated, or why he had the primary interrogation, right? During that encounter, quote, agents were looking for anything that's prohibited. However, Tunick's legal team alleges that he was targeted for his activism. Tunick was involved with a group called Defend the Atlanta Forest, which opposed the construction of an enormous law enforcement training facility known as Cop City in Atlanta, where Tunick is from. What he didn't know, according to his lawyers, is that he'd been placed on a watch list for his actions, sorry, I don't want this ad. So what Tunick didn't know, according to his lawyers, was that he'd been placed on a watch list for his actions and that Customs and Border Patrol had discussed over email plans to detain him on his arrival back in the U.S. for, quote, suspected terrorism activities. So I think that's important to note because it sounds like they're railroading this guy, right? If this is all, true, what he's saying, what his lawyers are saying, right? That he was opposed to Cop City, did work around it, went out of the country for a little bit, came back, and now he's on some sort of terrorist watch list. Okay? But here is why I think it's worth talking about this story and seeing where it's going to go. Because during the interrogation, agents told him that they wanted to search his phone for evidence of child sexual abuse, and that if he didn't unlock his device, it would be confiscated. Now, obviously, we're against child sexual abuse materials, obviously, but I'm very curious how they decided that a guy who was on a watch list for terrorism because of protesting Cop City was suddenly under investigation for child sexual abuse materials and at an airport? The math ain't mathin' here to me. It's a little, the math ain't mathin', okay? So the government has long asserted broad authority to examine and seize electronic devices at the border for virtually any reasons. Tunick claims he was never read his rights and that he requested legal counsel several times, but those requests were denied. So he used the thing on Graphene OS, which basically deleted all his data, and it is called a duress code, right? So it's an optional feature that allows a user to set a code that is different than the unlock code. If you're worried about the contents of your phone falling into the wrong hands, you can enter that code on the lock screen instead of using the unlock code. Then it immediately and irreversibly deletes all data and SIM information stored on your device. Tunick provided this code to the agent, who then entered it on the phone, at which point the screen went blank, flashed several times, and the phone appeared to restart. All the data on the phone is gone, but authorities confiscated it anyway. Tunick was allowed to leave. However, the U.S. Department of Justice opted to file criminal charges against him, citing a little-known statute that makes it illegal to destroy or damage property to prevent it from being seized.
Wait, hold on, but they still seized it.
They did still seize it.
Yeah, and it wasn't destroyed. The phone was very much still a phone.
It was very much still a phone.
Yo, I need a law degree.
And you were out of the room for this part, but I was explaining that he did a lot of work around fighting Cop City in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta. Went out of the country on a trip, came back, and on the way back, they knew who he was, so they stopped him intentionally, and because he was on a domestic terrorist watch list. for his work around Cop City, and they said, give us your phone because we think you have child sexual abuse material on there.
Oh, we just walk around thinking that.
Right. I just find it to be highly suspicious that he hasn't been charged with anything involving child sexual abuse material. He hasn't been charged with owning it, possessing it, creating it. But they stopped him for his phone for that. And because he deleted all the data on his phone, now he's being charged with deleting the data on his phone. After they said that they were putting him on a domestic terrorist watch list for his fighting Cop City in Atlanta. And like, I'm not saying he can't have had, child sexual abuse material. I'm just saying I find it the timing suspicious.
Oh, it's obvious. I like overstating the obvious, and we know exactly what that is, which is why don't talk with Republicans. Don't debate them. Everything about them is bad faith. They just want to do exactly this. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah, and so he was told that when he got to the airport, it was a routine border check, but then he was told that he had raised red flags, and so he had gone to, I'm going to scroll up to see if I can find the exact wording, a secondary interrogation. Why, though? What happened in the because that's the thing, they haven't released what happened in the initial check that made him worthy of a secondary interrogation. They said they were looking for anything that's prohibited. Why would you assume he has something prohibited on his phone? Like, what's going on here? So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about that and point out this story before the right-wing media gets a hold of it, because the way I've already seen it in some groups and subthreads and shit, they're already framing it as pedophile with child porn on his phone deletes information to subvert authorities type thing. And it's based on what I'm reading from actual news outlets, I have no reason to believe he had child sexual abuse material on his phone. It sounds like they targeted him because he's anti-Cop City, is what the fuck it sounds like.
I think this is what's frustrating is subconsciously, we know that at any given time, someone may be new tuning into the program that doesn't have the media literacy training that we received.
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating knowing that. So it's like, I have to overstate this and emphasize this and make sure that you understand this. Yeah. And this is something I have to help make some of you understand is the conservative media outlets that are saying this, they already had it in the chamber. They were in communication. We're going to get this guy. You're going to publish this headline. Right on. And it's not even right on boss. It's right on partner in this.
Yeah.
Right? We're all working together for this. And this is that puritanical shit is we will fucking lie and demonize those who we consider enemies so that we can be lionized and made heroes out of. We're amazing and our violence is justified.
Yeah. And also, I feel like it's worth noting, too, to me, and of course, I'm not a legal expert. I mean, maybe I should be. But I would point out that this is all about his phone. But if he was really that serious about collecting child sexual abuse material, they would be at his house right now looking at his hard drives. They would be right now, what fucking, group chats are you in on the internet? What forums do you be in? What websites do you go to? They're not doing that. They're just charging him with deleting data off his phone. Which tells me that this is not about him actually possessing child sexual abuse materials. This is about y'all don't like his activism.
Looking at what you said there, right? Because you asked a rhetorical question, right? Why aren't they at his house with the hard drives?
Yeah.
Back to the media literacy thing again. I'm supposed to be getting ready to go to work. Yes, it is 3:41 a.m. But fucking somebody, if we were a larger program, there would be a conservative listening to that, and it would be a more Christmas sweater David Brooks type conservative.
Yeah.
And they would actually really sit on that question for months, not to ponder it, but to figure out the best bad faith way to, I would say, inoculate his audience against it the next time it comes up.
Right.
He can't beat that rhetorical question as an argument now, but now it's about, again, inoculating his audience for it in the future. Right? Which one of them is, one that they've been running forever is, well, black people just call everything racist. right? And then they're just like, well, they canceled Aunt Jemima, right? They preemptively tell you there's a cancel culture, there's a cancel culture, there's a cancel culture, right? And then as soon as and there's a whole lot of famous entertainers online, right? There's a cancel culture, there's a cancel culture, there's a cancel culture, and then oh no, the guy that I've been boosting, Graham Plattner, is a rapist with the Nazi tattoo that I kept boosting him after he had it. Well, don't cancel me. Hey, cancel culture's bad. Don't do a cancel culture. Keep subscribing to my show and making me more money. Yeah. Have your media literacy in order, man. Understand, a lot of these folks, I make a little bit of change off of this. Yeah. But it's business. And even this, I'm going to produce it and put a beat under it, and I care about how my microphone sounds for the business part, but that's about the most businessy I am with it. Yeah. Other than that, all of our rhetoric is ethical, which is why we'll never be one of the big shows.
Well, yeah, and also
we actually mean it.
Because we also have to live, we aren't at a point where, not that I ever hope we're past this point, but we have to live with the consequences of what we say.
Yeah.
A lot of these other content creators don't, like the big time content creators don't, because they can afford the gated community.
Yeah.
Right? So they can lie about you, they can lie about a cause, they can lie about a thing, they can do whatever. And as the world goes to shit, they have enough money to stay safe. We aren't in that tax bracket.
Right, and they're white. They're not going to be targeted by Daniel Penny.
Yeah.
Daniel Penny is not going to choke any of them out. They don't have to care about that.
Yep. They can fly. They can afford to fly to a blue state to get an abortion.
Right. Well, they already live there.
Ugh.
They already live there. God damn it. Well, yep, this one will have to be its own program. All right. Off to the gosh darn shift. It is 3. It's late.